What's up, love bugs? It's your favorite queen of hearts, Lady L to the IPS. Yes. And I don't know if he's on your right or my left, but I got the best guest in the freaking world with me tonight. And I'm mad him. As y'all can see, I got my own silver fox. Bloodline is crazy. Go ahead and introduce yourself, cuz.
Well, I'm Vi cousin. My name is Tiek, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. I am so excited. We just came off a dope birthday cruise. Happy 60th birthday to you. They wouldn't know it by looking at you, but you just celebrated your 60th. How you feel?
Yeah, I'm still coming down off a big, huge high. I haven't been able to thank anybody because I feel like I'm still on a cruise. So I'm still celebrating.
It
So
was magnificent. It
I
was.
topped it off with a beautiful party when I got back. Everybody came out and showed me some love. It was nice. Oh, I didn't tell you
Good.
I was dancing. They show you?
Nah, you got to send it to me. She told me, but nobody sent me the video yet. So make sure you send it to me.
Yeah, I didn't get anything yet. They just told me they had pictures and videos, but nobody sent me anything yet. But
All right.
I'm,
Well, I'm glad to have you here with me today. And I'm glad you're still on a high. Hopefully, you're not too high to engage.
I'm good. I'm good. Come on, let's go
All right.
to it.
So, as you may or may not know, Sentimentally Speaking is about all things love, life, sex, and relationship. And I really think I can hit on every last one of those topics with you because I got a taste and a glimpse of what your mindset is surrounding relationships, love, sex, and life in general on the cruise when me, you, and your brother Hardy were kicking it up in a solarium. And I think the first question I want to start with is love, because I'm all about love and as it relates to romantic relationships. And I've learned a couple of things from you, but just so we can go here, um, I love your wisdom. So I'm going to ask you, what have been some of the keys, in your opinion, to maintaining love and a connection over the years? Because 60 years on this earth, I'm sure you done had your fair share of love and relationships. So what does Rati think are some of those keys that has helped you maintain those relationships over time?
Um, to be honest with you, and I don't, I'm not a professional in this area because I haven't been able to hold down a stable love life, in my 60 years. So I've been in and out of relationships. But if you want to base it on case study, I'm your man because of those experiences. I'm able to share with people, what to do and not to do. I think I'm at that point where now going into a new relationship in the past 3 years, I can give advice on what it is we shouldn't do. Everybody's different, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, ultimately you want to look for love, and I think you start off by liking someone and then you want to fall in love with them, you know. So you have to fail be- can suc- before you can succeed. And communication, that's where the communication comes in. So right off the bat, from my experience, when I entered a new relationship, we both got different likes and dislikes. And I noticed right away when things start, you wait for that first argument. When the honeymoon is over, that first argument tells it all. You enter into a different stage in your life when you make the commitment in a relationship. Are we together? Are we going to stay together? Where we going with this? And so for me, it was, you don't have to get upset with me. And I can't control your mood, but we don't have to argue about it. You know, if you let me know there's something you don't like, give me an opportunity to fix it. If I continue to do it, then it's not a mistake anymore. But don't come down on me because I made it. I'm just being me. I don't know what you don't like unless you tell me. So that's where our communication began. And sometimes people have a hard time doing it if they haven't been doing it in past relationships. The relationship I'm in now, she came from toxic relationships where they didn't really communicate. Let me take that back. They did communicate. They didn't talk. Their communication was through violence, upset. They communicated in other ways to let you know they were
That
upset or
helps.
mad. It was,
Mm,
yeah. And my
gotcha.
sister said, "You can talk to me, you know,
Mm,
I'll try my best to my goal is to make you happy. The reason why I want to make you happy, because I want to be happy. And
mhm,
that's where I began, you know, us loving each other more, you know. So I hope I
mm.
answered the question.
You did. And I have a follow-up question too, because you talked about, disagreements and challenges in a relationship and being able to talk within that communication. Is there ever a time where you can expect somebody to understand you based on because you mentioned something about you want to be able to get it right. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what I'm doing wrong. But if they never tell you what you're doing wrong and you make that mistake once, twice, thrice, how do you feel like is that something you can overcome? Or do you think like once you've been in that position where you disappointed that person or you've broken their heart because they didn't tell you what you were doing wrong and you didn't figure out what you were doing wrong, were you able to overcome in a relationship or was that usually the end of it?
Um, like I said, you sometimes you make multiple mistakes in the beginning when those things happen. Most relationships start off very happy and fun, you know, and all my life I've been, more curious than cautious,
Ooh.
you know. So one doesn't always necessarily add up to a perfect relationship. But it's fun for 9 months, 10 months. Let's go get married. Or let's have a relationship. And it always work out for me, you know. And I'm like, after 9 months, 10 months, a year, like I'm still being me. And I'm like, what's the problem? Now you're having problems with how things are going. And a lot of times that's because of feelings, emotions. You know what I'm saying? Because in the beginning we like each other a lot. The love's not don't exist yet. We say it, verbally express it sometimes, not really meaning it. We're like, I just love him. I just love how he this and I love that. But they don't that feeling is not there yet. That feeling comes much later. It comes much later when you feel it in your gut, when it touches you, and that's where emotions come from, physically. It's not physical in the beginning. It's just a concept of, what you see and what you think you like. But you enter into a different stage when you start to having deep feelings for someone. And when you get ready to coexist, either living with her or she's living with you. Or staying, I say living, but somebody's at somebody's house during this dating scene. I may be there 2, 3 days. You may be here 2, 3 days. We basically together. So after 8, 9 months, you're like, where are we going with this? Because the in the beginning, it's like I was dating other women too, and they still there. Or you was dating somebody else, they still there. So while you thinking about where we going with this, those other people are lurching, and this is where they catch the feelings at. I don't, and this is where women and men have to express that I want you exclusively. Men have a hard time saying you mines. Women don't. They know what they want. Men be like they want to still play that field. Now let's see where it's going. That type of thing. And ain't nobody got time to be playing with nobody's feelings no more. I want to know what this
You
is.
said,
Keeping
I'm
your
sorry, I didn't
options.
mean to cut you off, but you mentioned having deep feelings. And
Yeah,
at first, yeah, even though you exchange the I love yous, because when it's in the beginning, we think we feel that, right? We think we love the person. I love how you talk to me. I love how you treat me. I love how you make me feel in your presence. But I think what I'm hearing you saying is not that deep, visceral,
no,
I'll take a bullet for you love yet. It's
no,
more just like attraction.
that's
When
it.
when a man transitions from that surface level love to that deeper love, what changes in him? What can the woman notice if he doesn't express it? Or what does a man show when his words doesn't mirror his feelings? How can a
It's just
woman know when a man has transitioned? Or what signs does a man exhibit when he has, even if he may not realize it?
it's the same for both. I think women pay more attention to than men, but it's the same. when somebody wants you, I always tell this to my kids or anybody that I talk to. When somebody wants you, they make time for you. They know. Then you know that they want you. You know what I'm saying? There's no excuses. And if there is absolutely no way I can provide what you asking me for, time, attention, affection, then it's something real serious that's going on in my life other than another person, another woman. So that's my answer. You know by
Providing that time, attention, and affection when y'all linking to have sex and have that fun time and that good time?
it's different because sometimes it's when he wants it. I'm saying when she wants it, you asked me the question, how does a woman know when a man
Mhm.
really wants them? And I'm saying because when you need them, they're gonna be there for you. There's no
Got
excuses. They're not
There's
making no
no
excuses for
excuses.
being there. You know, a lot of times men like to keep their options open and they like to play the field. Let's see where this goes. No,
Mhm.
women know what they want from the very first, probably 5 minutes of meeting somebody you're attracted to. They know, I'm gonna sleep with that man.
Right? A woman does know,
They
and
know what
doesn't,
they're
but
gonna do.
a guy doesn't necessarily know that I'm about to wife her or I want to be with her long term. It's usually just a physical attraction, right?
It's
Am I-
exceptional.
Sometimes.
It's exceptional for a man to right away. I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen or it doesn't occur because I've done it. I've seen women that I wanted for a long time, and sometime I was in a relationship and it just something that just wasn't gonna happen. And then I broke up and like, is she still free? You know what I'm saying? And like if I can find her, then I want to see what's up with that. And sometimes it's not always what you think, because you only see what's going on in the outside. You don't know what a person is feeling in the inside or what they're going through in their life. You only see external, you know? And so you see the beautiful person outside, but you don't see what they're going through inside. You don't know if you're prepared to deal with that. I have friends like that. One of my real close friends, sister, little sis Joe. She got two autistic kids, and she deal with a lot of pressure. She got to work full-time job. She's home by herself most of the time, and you don't see that when she come out. You see the fun-loving, beautiful Joanne, and you don't know what she go through. Are you prepared? So when the brothers ask me, she's single or she free, and I'm like, man, are you prepared for this? When you want
Mhm.
to a concert, when you want to go out of town, when you want to go to a show, when you want to go to the movie, she got big, huge responsibility with two autistic kids, and she may not be able to go out. Are you prepared to stay in?
Mhm.
Are you prepared to say, nah, we just gonna stay home, honey? Nah, they don't see that part. And the same thing goes for sometime with men. But like you said, you're attracted to who you're attracted to, and you have to get to know them, really get to know them. And most guys just want that part of the person that they're attracted to. They don't want the other responsibility.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. They don't want that deeper commitment that comes with a person who has that level of responsibility. So let me
Yeah.
ask you, when we look at Teak being in love in his 20s versus his 40s versus his 60s, do you see a difference in how you approach your relationship and what you put value on?
Um, it's funny that you said that because I think I approached it my relationships the same. You know, it was just a lot I didn't understand that I had to learn. I grew up with my grandmother and grandfather, so you know, I wanted what they had. They had,
Mm.
they met when they was teenagers, maybe I don't know, 12, 13, it would seem like they had 10 kids and they probably dated for a few years and then they got married. So you're talking about 60 years, 70 years of marriage, outside of before they was dating. So I always loved that. I love, having a woman at home because that's what my grandfather had. My grandmother
Mhm.
took care of us, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't understand it because I grew up in a different era. So my grandfather worked. He didn't have He had a third grade education. So he went to work every day and came home. I went to school and then
Mm.
and then I ran the streets, you know.
Mm.
So that's the part I missed. I wanted what he had, but I wasn't willing to give up the other things in my life to keep what he had, you know. And I understand it. So I went through those mistakes, when I expressed to a girl that this is what I want and how this is what I like. It was a lie, but I didn't know it was a lie. You know what I'm saying? She's like, "Where the hell you at?" I'm in the street.
Mm.
I'm out here hanging out, still hanging with my boys, still going to play ball, stuff that young kids do, young brothers do. I didn't realize my grandfather, he was going home. I, I ain't going home.
Is the 60-year-old Teak still operating from that mindset, or have you evolved in terms of, I need
What
to
I
make sacrifices? I can't do X, Y, and Z if I want to maintain this love life that I have.
what I learned was to find someone more in common with myself. I still don't want to come home. I still like to hang out. I still like to socialize. I may 60-year-old may not go out as much and do as much, but I'm still outgoing. I still socialize a lot. I still got a lot of stuff going on in my life that keep me young, keep me active. I don't know if it keeps me young. I never focused on that. I focus on stuff that I like to do that makes me happy. And so I
Hmm.
over those years to share that with the person that I'm going to be with, because I always felt it was unfair. And I even entering in this relationship, I felt I had to explain to her. I said, "This is what I like, and this is what I want. So if we can come to terms on that, I think it'll make for a happy relationship." She said, "Okay," but what I did say to her, I said, "If you don't tell me those things that you don't like, that's unfair to me." Because if you don't tell me, I'm going to just continue to be me. When you enter in my life, I have a lot of women around me. I have a lot of stuff going on. And one of them is I socialize. I'm into my fraternity and I do a lot with my friends and family. So if you're not really share that with me, then it's gonna be a problem. You can't tell me 3 years later that you just never liked it. Now, the one thing that I learned that I know about that to be true is that my wife, I was married once, and she did it to me. Once we dated for a couple of years, got married, and then after we got married, she stopped socializing with me. She stopped hanging out with me. Stopped going places with me. She stayed in the house, you know, and that's all she did. I said, "Let's go to the movies." She said, "I don't want to go to movies." Next week, let's go to movies. I don't want to go to movies. Next month, let's go to movies. Stop asking me to go to movies. I don't like the movies. I only did that so I can be with you. That's what she said to me.
She did it until
So,
she got you, but she didn't maintain it to keep you.
no, she didn't
Why you
because,
quit the marriage?
well, huh?
It sounds like
What'd
she
you say?
quiet quit. They call it like in the job when you go to work every day, but you don't do the work you're supposed to do. They call it quiet quitting because you're over the job and you really want out, but you stick in it because it pays you. In this marriage, it sounds like this individual just stopped committing to the things that she once did to keep the relationship going and
She went
left you
on
feeling
cruises with
alone
me.
in a sense.
She went on cruises with me. She went out to the parties with me. She did, she traveled with me. I always travel. I out of state, I get in the car and we can let's go. Stop everything. She was just there, home. When I got back, whenever I wanted to go, I wasn't able to share those same experiences. I wanted somebody to be with me to do all those things I like to do. That's what you have to find. You don't have to
Mm.
wait. Don't wait till later to discuss it. You got to meet someone that's like you that want to commit to that, and that makes for a happy relationship. And sometimes we don't have those conversations in the beginning, and I didn't know how. I for me, the younger me, I assumed that you seen all that. You see my lifestyle. You see me now. You could take it you can just look at what I do and see what I'm doing and say, yeah, that's T. So I assumed that they knew my lifestyle and they was cool with it. But they wasn't. So I'm saying to you that it's unfair if you don't say anything. That you that you think not telling me and telling me later that's gonna change me. That's not cool. And
Mm,
then you wasted your time all these years with thinking that you liked me the way I was. And you really
mm-hmm,
didn't. You don't like me around my friends. You really don't like my friends. And you really wasn't as outgoing as you thought, as you said you was. Now you're not doing anything. So I'm not gonna stop. I didn't stop. I kept going out. Now I'm still hanging out with my friends and my girl's not here. My mans and them got women, they got, seeing people and they're going out and I'm not. Well, at least I'm not going
How long
out
ago
with.
were you married? What age did you get married?
I got married late. I got married in my 40s,
In
you
your
know.
40s.
And I
Okay.
figured like at that point, I always wanted to be married. And I figured that was a good time to settle down, like have someone just to chill with. And not that I didn't do it in my relationships because for me it was all the same. My relationship and marriage is I value the same way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what I did learn is that I don't want to hurt anybody.
Mm,
And I learned that the hard way, obviously, from getting hurt. So I don't want that no more. So that's how I walk into my relationships now. Open, you know, and but not not entrusting. I open and trusting because I ain't scared to get hurt anymore. So I tell her that I'm not scared to get hurt. I'm not gonna be looking for nothing. I'm not gonna look into your shit. I'm not gonna be snooping. I'm gonna go into this trusting. If you hurt me, I already know how to get over it. I will
mm.
get over it and move on. And that's just how I live.
Can you forget if somebody hurts you, right?
Yeah,
Unintentionally, of course, because maybe those conversations weren't had that you said need to be had in order for you guys to be on the same page because they may have had expectations that you weren't aware of, or you were looking for them to confirm the status of the relationship. Because on the ship, we talked about going with the flow versus nah, we need to have a conversation, establish that we're in this exclusive relationship and not assume that because we're engaging in behavior that automatically results to exclusivity, right?
right.
So if somebody hurts you unintentionally because those conversations were had, thinking with the 60-year-old teak brain versus the 20 or 40-year-old teak brain, is is there room for forgiveness and second chances? Or do you think once somebody has hurt you, you move on?
I can't answer. I can't answer that because I haven't experienced a second chance.
On either side, giving or receiving?
Um, yeah, well, yes, on my side, on my side, um, I've cheated and I was forgiven. You know, so I don't know how that answers your question. I don't know how it feels
Could
to
you
forgive.
forgive someone who's cheated on you?
Huh?
Could you forgive someone who's cheated on you?
Um, I did. I did forgive. The difference was I wasn't in love with her.
Mm,
And so 20-year-old Teak, 30-year-old Teak wouldn't have done it. But 40, 50, 60-year-old Teak, I did it. But I wasn't in love. It didn't hurt me because my relationships are different now. So,
mm,
my younger Teak wasn't didn't live as vicariously as I do now. You know, I didn't enter into, you know, group sex and stuff like that, different types of intimacy as I am now. So my mind is different and I'm more secure. The younger Teak was a little insecure and jealous. And as
Mm,
I got older, I learned how to appreciate those things that I used to be jealous of. Guy attracted to my girl, a guy looking at my girl, stuff like that.
mhm,
I learned how to appreciate it because she's just attracted. They see what I see. They see what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So now I smile because yeah, I'm not the only one think she's beautiful.
mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I admire someone saying, "Oh, she look good," or they stare at her now. Like, yes, my girl still look good. You know what I'm saying? But the
Mhm.
younger cheek was like, "Fuck you looking at? Looking at my talk to my girl." You know,
Yeah.
and even and I've taught as I got older, I had to teach my girl that. I'm like, you guys, you still got this swag. You better appreciate that. It builds confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But they have to know that you are appreciative of it. You know, if you don't tell them, then they keep it to themselves, or they look at it as an insult too. Like, fuck you looking at, that kind of attitude. Don't be
Yeah.
staring at me, or don't be trying to talk to me. I got a man. It's
Let me
different.
ask you this. So you said you made mistakes earlier in life. You said your mindset has changed in terms of your how you view people being attracted to your lady and how you view your connections. How important is love later in life? When we're young and we think we got the whole world ahead of us, and we got all the time in the world, and we got multiple people checking for us, looking after us. Eventually, we age. Eventually, we get older, right? We hit the hill, we're over the hill. And then it's like, my back hurt, my neck hurt, I'm ailing, and running the streets and being at parties and then having multiple people attracted to us, it starts to wane. How do you view love later in life? And do you see it as something important that men and women should really establish that? Like what you said you saw your grandparents have, as have I. Or do you feel like 60 is still that age where I got enough time? I ain't really trying to lock nothing down yet.
No, I don't feel that way at all. That's why I say it's individual because
Hmm.
my friends are my age. Some of them are still out there playing around, and some of them settle down. So everybody's different. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? But what I do feel is when it comes to love, it works hand in hand with trust. And over the years, I've questioned, you know, before my grandfather passed and other people that older than me that passed away, I questioned them. I question their commitment because when you love somebody long term and you in a long term relationship, you in and out of love. You dislike them, you hate them this moment, but you have to make that commitment, that strong commitment, like your grandmother and your grandfather, like my grandfather and my grandmother. I ain't going nowhere. Like Matt Lee, Aunt Matt, they regardless,
Hmm.
they was there for each other, no matter what, through everything. And it was tough. And you ask yourself, how they go through it. And anybody I talk to now, I'm like, listen, you're gonna go through it. You're gonna dislike that person. Things are gonna change. You gotta constantly work on the relationship and find ways and tools to stay together. So for me, even though I love that person, the trust work hand in hand. I need to be able to trust you. I need to be able to
Mm.
trust that you're gonna be there for me. So my aftercare is important. I am 60. Things gonna change. Things might stop working. You know, I might not be able to provide you as, the intimacy that you had before. Um, I might not be able to do as much as I was able to do in the past. And I've had this conversation already. So the older cheek can have this conversation. The younger cheek never had that conversation. Didn't think about it. When you're young, you don't think about dying. Think about living. So when you get older and you've been down in some crap, you like, man, or you get sick and there's that creeping thing in the back of your head, man. I'm getting old and something can happen. So, we on the last quarter of our lives now, you know. So dying is, you know, right there. Us
Yeah.
leaving this world is right there. So I had to have this conversation with the person I'm with. Are you gonna be there for me? I know I got family and friends, but at any time something could stop working. I might, like I said, I might not be able to provide the same amount of intimacy, and we go through shit. You know, when it gets to that point, you got to be able to be smart enough to recognize, not just those things that ain't working, but also things like mental illness, depression, you know. And I had to explain to her that it ain't always you. Men too have problems, you know.
Mhm.
They have these dysfunctions, and they might not be ready to open up about it. They might be a little shy about it, The testosterone levels drop, you know, and you don't know how to explain it to your girl. You know what I'm saying? And same thing with her. They go through menopause, and every woman suffer through menopause separate. I could have this conversation with you because I'm around multiple women all the time, and I
Mhm.
hear it. I hear the conversations, and believe it or not, I grew up with all women. Through the hysterectomies, through the women problems, and I'm there, and I hear all of it. So being with my girl is young, and being with a younger woman, I could tell her. I was like, from being around women, I experienced them going through multiple problems at the age of 40, and these things just happen. You can't fight evolution, and so your body's going to change. And she wasn't ready for it, and I was like, well, I told you. And she got early onset menopause, and you know she didn't know how to explain it to me. And I just
Mhm.
had a conversation with her the year before, and I said, I told you. But we had the conversation because of one of her friends, man, was acting funny. And I said, well, she shouldn't be yelling at him. She should try to talk to him because I'm pretty sure, you know, he's having a hard time intimately and just
Feeling,
don't know how
yeah.
to talk about it.
I gotta ask you, cuz real quick, because I know we are winding down. You're a busy man, and I only borrowed some of your time. You talked about a lot. You talked about the changes in the sex life as we get older, because like you said, that's just evolution. Our bodies go through that. You mentioned being open sexually more now than you were in the past, because you're no longer jealous. You're more self secure and self assured.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, as a man, a 60-year-old man who understands that your intimacy level will decline as you get older, what's your thoughts on you're giving your woman permission to receive pleasure elsewhere when you're not in a position to provide that to her? Or do you expect her, we go through this together because we are together?
Um, I'm all for it.
You're all for it?
Yeah.
So you will allow your lady to be pleasured by somebody else if you're in a position where you can't do it for her?
Well, I do it now.
Oh, okay.
I'm fully capable of
Listen, honey, I
provide.
love the honesty. All right.
I'm fully capable of providing everything, but you know, some, you know, it's a wider range of experience. Being able to have variety. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where some people differ. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Mm,
that you can't satisfy it, but I like variety, and so does she. So she like women, and so I've allowed that. You know, she hasn't said that she wanna, you know, with a man, but I'm not opposed to it. You know what I'm saying? Because of what I want. So like I said, I've learned over the years how to accept that because of what I want. So I had to give it
okay.
something that's in common with me. So I've let yeah, I've let her go to the club with a bunch of girls and they have fun.
Have at it. I got one more question for you, cuz, and maybe you can answer this as quickly as possible or as succinct as possible. And it just kind of wraps it up. Looking back, right? If you could look back and think now, is there anything you wish you had done differently when it comes to love, your life, how you engage in sex or your relationships, any of those categories? What's Teek's biggest takeaway when you self-reflect at the age of 60? Is there anything you wish you had done differently?
It's always a lot. It's a bunch of stuff that I wish I did differently. It's a bunch of decisions I would have, wish I would have made. And at the end of all those, after I think about all the stuff that I wish I did, there's nothing more profound than understanding what I have now. The knowledge, the experience. There was a reason why I wasn't like that or I didn't make those choices. You know what I'm saying? And I felt that um it built confidence, it built respect, because of those decisions I made in the past. You know, I didn't jump on every girl that wanted me, and I didn't go after every girl I thought was attractive. Um, and although it was a good idea, I thought was a good idea at the time, I wouldn't change it. And in times I think I had good women in my life. My kid's mother, beautiful people that I could have settled down with, and I wasn't ready. And sometimes I think about, yeah, I should have, you know, maybe I could have been a better father, a better husband, or a better boyfriend. I know I could have, just wasn't ready. I have to, and
Right.
I accepted that I wasn't ready at the time. So people ask me that question a lot. And I say, that's 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 part of life. That's what gives you your experience. That prepared you for the relationship you're in now. You
No
know,
regrets.
no, no. I'm not
Good.
because of that. I have beautiful relationships with those past relationships I had. We could talk all the time. No problem. And we've moved on, and we've learned, we've grown. Everybody grows separately, go differently at different paces. So that's where I'm at with that.
Mm. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your honesty, your openness. And what I appreciate most about you is you're always available for me and to me. There's not been a time where I called you, you didn't answer. I text you, you didn't reply. I appreciate the love. I love you so much. And you're probably the only one who get me to spend that amount of money in that amount of time on the border, away from my family and
Let
my
me do it
kids
again. Let's
with
do
a
it
bunch of
again.
strangers, but it was a good time. I love you so much.
Love
Thank
you.
you for joining me. And to the audience, thank y'all for being here with us because y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all chose to be here with me and T.
Yes, thank you. I love you too. Good
Love you
night.
too, baby. Good night.